Hello you lovely lot and welcome to today's video. I'm sharing some more thoughts on some recent picture books that I have read, and I thought you might like to see what's good, what's new, what's popping. So here are reviews of the recent 8 or so books that I thought I'd share. So I'm starting off with The Seed of Compassion by the Dalai Lama, which shares lessons of peace and compassion told through stories of his own childhood. And with this one, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. We have some really solid human values included here, and the illustrations accompanying those values were absolutely stunning. It was textured and very soft in style, which was such a beautiful addition to the way the words impacted you. Next one was My Friend Andy by Emma Chinnery, and oh my god, this was a surprise to say the least. The big city is a scary place for Fluffy, the little lost dog, until she makes a friend who will help her in this carefully observed story that challenges readers to reevaluate perceptions and stereotypes of homelessness. This was another 5 out of 5 stars for me. It brought tears to my eyes. It was so beautiful. Honestly, it was a new book that had come into the library at the point of when I read it. And my colleague was like, "Jen, read this." And I thought, oh, okay, I'm just going to flick through. No, I sat there and I read this little picture book. It's only like 20 or so pages. And I was holding back tears. It was so touching and so beautiful. And you know, it really does, as the blurb says, reevaluate, or teaches readers to reevaluate how they look at people that are sleeping rough. And I think the fact that it was told sort of through the journey of this little lost dog finding refuge with Andy, who's the man that's been sleeping rough, and his little dog, and how they made friends. And it was just such a beautiful way to introduce this type of conversation, and I'd really recommend it. It was fabulous. After that, I read one that is more of like a picture book for older readers, so it's what I would describe as being like an early start into graphic novel. This was Barb the Brave by Dan Abdo. It's about a young girl who has to rescue her fellow warriors from the evil villain Witchhead before he destroys the world. This one I gave a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I can really see this being a fun Cartoon Network series, specifically Cartoon Network, because they just do cartoons right. It read like a comedy action cartoon, and I thought it was like really entertaining and enjoyable. I loved the found family aspect, and I also really enjoyed the Lord of the Rings reference of "you have my hammer." It just felt like there was little throwaway comments and references that maybe adults would enjoy if they were reading it alongside younger readers. It was so much fun, and it definitely got a couple of chuckles out of me. I also read To the Island by Patricia Ford, and we're following Fia, who looks out of her window and across the bay. She longs to see the mythical island of High Brazil, which appears and disappears in the water. This one I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. It is a beautiful and magical book full of whimsy and wonder about a mysterious island. I'm really interested in finding more about the legend and the mythos of High Brazil. The illustrations themselves were beautiful, and I was so impressed with how parts looked like the page was glowing, like the way the illustrations were done. It was like coming to life. It was so beautiful. Another children's book I read that I think all children should read and all adults should read to young ones in their life is Don't Hug Doug, He Doesn't Like It by Carrie Finnison. It is a fun picture book used to encourage conversations about consent and setting boundaries. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars, of course. I really enjoyed how it teaches children in a gentle and child-friendly way about consent and their own bodily autonomy. There's nothing worse than, you know, I don't know if you were forced as a child to, like, I never really was, but seeing like children forced to kiss someone or give them a hug and they don't want to. Don't make them do that, you know. It's not nice. I like how this kind of tackles that conversation and be like, you know, it's fine, you don't have to do that, it's your body, you know. It's very light-hearted, but it gets the point across very simply and cheerfully. After that, I read Max and Chaffee, Welcome to the Animal Island by Jamie Smart, and in this one we simply follow Max and family who move to a new island to live and work and enjoy life and make new friends. This one I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. It was so incredibly cute, and it really reminded me of like a cross between Animal Crossing, Dora the Explorer and Hello Kitty. It was so cute. I definitely would have loved this as a kid. Didn't necessarily land as much as an older reader reading it, but I could see merit in how it would appeal to children. Next up, I also read The Little Book of Joy by, once again, the Dalai Lama, as well as Desmond Tutu, and this one I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. It is a gorgeous children's adaptation from the larger book, The Book of Joy, which I believe I read maybe a month or so prior to reading this one, converging basically the basics of compassion and choosing kindness and peace above all. The illustrations were absolutely beautiful in this one. And lastly, I read Tosh's Island, which is again kind of like a book for slightly older readers. If you know, like the S and S plus scheme, it's kind of like I would say like S plus, so slightly older middle grade children, and this is by Linda Sargent and Joe Brady, and it's about Tosh, whose upbringing feels close to perfect. She's got best friends, mischief in secondary school just around the next corner, but when chronic illness strikes, it threatens to derail everything she loves. And it's also based on the author Linda Sargent's life story. This one I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. It was a beautiful story. I really loved at the heart of it. It was about a young girl coming to terms with a chronic illness and her wonderful vivid imagination that she has to kind of keep her spirits up and get through life and kind of accept, you know, her fate. But that doesn't mean that's the end of life as she knows it, you know. Unfortunately, because of the mixture of the two, you know, with this high, exciting, intelligent creativity and this illness that nobody else seems to be able to identify or diagnose, everybody kind of initially doubts her pain, her suffering, and her truth, basically. You know, if she can easily make up a magical island, surely she can have a phantom pain for a little bit more attention, right? It's just such a dangerous sentiment that is so flippantly thrown around, yet causes such an impact on the individual trying to get a diagnosis and just medical support and just general initial belief in their pain, you know, to begin with. And that must do a number on their mental health on top of that, because then they're thinking, if no one else can see this or can test it in measurable circumstances, like, is it real? Am I crazy, you know? So I thought it was fantastically done, exploring that and kind of the struggles that come with chronic illness, not just the pain itself, but all the factors that surrounds it. And as I said briefly, it is inspired by the author's real life, particularly with experiences of early arthritis, like juvenile arthritis. There's a specific term, I can't quite remember the medical termination of it, but yeah, this story was beautifully told. It was lush in illustrations and had a beautiful color palette as well. I love the change of art style to a more cartoony illustration style when Tosh was imagining her scenes and playing make-believe and just kind of going on these creative adventures in her mind with her friends. But outside of that, it was a very Studio Ghibli kind of feel, and I love Studio Ghibli and the art style in general, so that was beautiful to behold. It's very tranquil and stunning, and yeah, overall this was both educational and beautifully told. So that wraps up today's video. Those are the 8 books that I think you should check out if you're interested in children's books and beautiful illustrations and different stories, or even if you have young ones in your life. If you've read these already, do let me know what you thought. I would love to know about it. But yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in another video soon. Bye.